And if you
No,
don't
man.
like hearing this,
No,
you
it's all
know,
good, man. I need to hear it. I need to, and no one's telling me it, so it's good.
yeah, people won't tell you. People, if you have a booger on your nose, people they won't say anything. I'm the guy. I'll tell you straight up. There's a fucking booger in your nose. Like, listen.
Okay, we are recording. Hey, you guys. This is Sharif from Culture Toronto. Thank you for joining. I have a really special guest today. His name is Paul Minhas. He's my old martial arts teacher and crew in Muay Thai, and it's just really cool to see him and to be able to talk to him like this. Like, technology's awesome, man. Like, we can just,
Yeah.
it's so easy to do this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Everything's great. Just our new normal. You know.
It's crazy, eh?
How about you?
I'm good. It's weird, man. COVID has been bittersweet. It's been bittersweet because, I used to travel a lot, Paul,
Yeah.
and I felt like I needed to travel to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And now for the past 2 years, I really had to think about what I could do to be happy where I am. You know what I mean? And that's kind of it's worked. Like I put in the work, and I feel really good, man. Like I feel really at peace. I feel happy.
Yeah, it's definitely a pressure test, this whole thing, right? Where, people are like for years saying, hey, you know what? It would be great just to work from home, be great to, not have to travel and do this and that, and then here, careful what you wish for. Now you got it, and now you're like, now human nature, you're like, oh, now I hate it, oh
Yeah,
no, I don't like that. And then when they go back, I'm sure it's gonna be like, oh, I wish it was like COVID again.
exactly, dude.
Yeah.
I've decided that this is way better, man.
Way better, of course. The
Like,
world's transforming in its own way. It's weird. But it just seems like after looking at it all, and I think others share this view too. Like of course, there's different views, but at the end of the day, if you look at where we are at now, people are finding a lot of positives out of it. Like you hear families saying, "Oh, I get time with my kids," and you hear employers too that their employees are more happy, their staff's more happy, they found different ways to, save money on rent. And there's so many good things too, right? You know?
it's crazy,
Um,
man. The company I work for, we've been 50% more productive.
wow.
But you know what's funny, Paul? In January, they're still talking about us going back. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're better this way, man. We're just better. But like, people still don't trust that the workers will be working.
Yeah. And the thing is, it comes down to productivity. Like if there's more productivity, in the workplace, things are getting done and they put systems in place to manage that and to look at the markers and kind of use that as your judging, right? The performance indicators. And I'm sure they are. These are big companies, but there must be some other. Maybe they're tied to the leases. I don't know. Maybe they prefer that way. They like that iron fist, like somebody hanging over your head. It could just be that. It could just be the laziness. Not the laziness, but it's so much work to change that whole infrastructure. Like it could be. It's possible. We don't know, right, at their level what's going on. But
It's
I
weird.
totally. Hmm?
It's weird.
Yeah.
I went for lunch with my team on Friday, and we were all like just laughing about this. Like we're more productive, we're happier, we're saving money on travel. Like why would we have to go back into the office and sit there and pretend to be busy when we're not, and like just all
Yeah.
this garbage of like corporate life. But you know what, man? We're not here to talk about that yet. By the way, this is the first episode of a new series called War Culture, and Paul's here to talk to us about the importance of martial arts and studying war. Although war is horrible, and you know, I wish the world didn't have any. Um, there's benefit to studying martial arts and strategy. And I think it would help people watching if you could just give a little spiel about yourself and your life and what you've dedicated your life to.
Okay. Well, when I first started, I was, training martial arts as a young child, like any others that were doing martial arts. But I started to enjoy it a lot more, and I was literally just obsessed with it, right? Going to the libraries, grabbing books and going through them, practicing on my own. And 80% of my time was not in class at dojos and stuff. It was a lot of it was practicing on my own, like hours and hours, just obsessed with it, loving it. And I had this dream also on the other side that, hey, someday I wanted to own my own business too, right? And I eventually, after years and years, I got the opportunity and opened up in 1993. Started in my basement with six students. Like one is actually still runs gyms now. Rich Cruz, he's still
Oh,
he
no
was
way.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
man.
he was like one of my first six students. It was basically all my friends, their younger brothers, they were like, hey, can you train my younger brother? Can you train my younger brother? And I said, sure. And they used to give me like literally $5 each a session, right? Yeah.
Dude, I
And then
remember
later,
haggling with you. I'm sorry, man. I didn't have money, man.
no, there wasn't any haggling. No, no, it was fine. We always make things work, right? But at the end of the day, that was something for them. It was, it was a lot less costly than going to, a traditional club, and they just felt comfortable with me. So those were my first six students. And I trained with them, and a couple of them kept training. Like one was training at Sean. He was training at pound for pound. He's fighting in the ring. Rich, of course, well accomplished as well, and the rest just kind of trained, and it impacted them, and it led them to other things. And then I opened up, and then from there, when I opened up, I was just very new to business, but I loved business,
Hmm.
so I started putting people in places, like started organizing without even realizing I was organizing, and I was starting to put systems in place from when I first opened, right? And I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was learning from this student, learning from another person, a student that worked in the gym, and he's like, "Hey, did you think about this? Hey, did you think about that?" And I'd be open minded, right? Because I was not like a master. I'm even now. I don't consider myself a master. I just believe like no one's a master. Like you're always, you know, there's one master, and you just have to do your best. That's the way I look at it. Exactly, right? And the thing is, I kept that motto, and it's been good because all the way through, it's always been everyone's been shoulder to shoulder. So it's always a team of leaders rather than, and I would empower. So the movement was, I wanted to have like how I got the opportunity to teach. I wanted to give that opportunity. Two things happen. I get the opportunity to give people a chance to become leaders. Okay, because there's a saying like where people always want to be like a follower of a follower, right? But instead, if you can be, a follower of a leader, you're gonna probably get a little bit more definite advice. Because if you're a follower, you're just following everything, and you're not really creating. But when you're a leader and you have an infrastructure, say this is the curriculum you got to teach. It's not to a T. You go and you taught too, right? And you go and teach it the way you want to do it, express it. So that way, one, all of our students that join, they have a different feeling from each instructor, a different connection, a different medium from that guru, right? Guru just means teacher. Kru means guru. So basically, each teacher has its own way. Just the way there's so many paths to God, I believe, and there's so many different ways, right? Everyone has their way and they like their teacher. That's fine, right? Same idea. You're getting this martial arts, and we're not really teaching martial arts, we're teaching a life skill. We're teaching mindset with the body. So action and thought, where it comes together
Yeah.
and it becomes feeling. Because when you find that feeling in martial arts, that's when you can start to play things through,
Yeah.
right? So then from there, everything just kept going to Japan days, Pride, K1 to then I said, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And then
No
Joe,
way. What?
oh yeah, so many times I don't want to do this
What?
anymore. Too much. It's the fight game makes it very real. The fight game is very, very unforgiving from the promoters to the matchmakers to other teams. The other teams are actually cool because they're just in it like you. But you're basically a coach of gladiators that are brought to the Coliseum to fight. And whether they die, I understand they don't die, it's not to the death. But the point is, to this day and age, it's quite equivalent to that because you're fighting to win.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
fighting to beat, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You're fighting to beat the crap out of the other person.
Destroy them.
Exactly. And that could be this guy in front of you could be the nicest person in the world. You know, you guys could be best friends, but this is something you mutually agree on. It's a sport. So the sports side, I wanted to leave, right?
I feel that so bad, man. You know, ever since, I mean, you've known me since I was like 13, you know?
Yeah. My wife
Um,
knows you. I know you. Like she always asks about you. Yeah. Like Chris Williams since he's 16.
yeah,
Joe since he's 19, Troy since he's 19, like all these guys, Mikey from Southside, you keep naming.
yeah,
Teenagers, right? All
yeah.
teenagers.
I was in the fighter class with so many people who started clubs, but instead of starting a club, my path was to teach at U of T. So
Yeah.
I started their Muay Thai program as a with the fighter certificate from you.
Mm.
Um, I think I taught at least 1,000 people, Paul.
Yeah. It's
Um,
crazy.
and I learned so much through teaching. It's weird. Like, and so many of the random people that showed up were like way better than me, but they still let me lead. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But you know, what you didn't mention is that you have taught some pretty important people. I would say like Gary Goodridge is pretty big.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was amazing. It was he picked up the yellow pages and found our ad.
God, Yellow Pages.
Yeah. He picked up the yellow pages. This is it's like Google just started in 98. I think it was around the same time, right? And yeah, and then he just called me and he said, "Would you train me? I have a fight against Musashi, right? In K1." He goes, "Do you know what Musashi? Do you know who Musashi is? Do you know about K1?" I go, "Of course I do. Like that's what I watch every day. I play the video game. I used to play the video game and literally visualize myself there. So
Yeah,
in between there's that they have a live symphony, right?
yeah.
Orchestra, and that's what's playing in between the rounds. And I used to wait in between my game, in between the rounds. Me and you remember Yuji, obviously.
Of course, I remember UG, man.
So Yuji was
God,
here too.
I
So
don't know his like. How big was UG? I had no idea.
he was like basically Ruta was his name, fight name.
Yeah,
He was in the Shudo organization, one of the first MMA organizations in the world, even before Pride. And he was the bodyguard for the president of Shudo.
what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this
Holy
guy's like
shit!
military. He's luta libre. He's trained under the family that brought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to Helio Gracie and that whole team. He trained under that lineage,
Man, he was
but the
so hard on
Japanese
me,
side,
Paul. He was
huh?
so hard on me, dude.
Yeah.
He used to call me Yoj Taike, which just means baby body. He used to just fucking make fun of me, like to make me better though, you know.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
He had a
and
unique
he
way.
taught me like Japanese a little bit, and when I went to Japan, I called him and we tried to connect, but he was in a different prefecture, so we couldn't make it work. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. He's in Yokohama now, mostly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I talk to him all the time, every week. Gary all the time. We do like video calls. Yeah, we're very close. But basically, that thing, what that taught me was 2 months after me visualizing and getting to the feeling place. of going to K1, I believe, made Gary pick up the phone book, look at it, and call me.
Yeah.
And when I called him, he said, Paul, he still mentions this to this day. He goes, I would not be able to do anything in my career if you hadn't have taught me Muay Thai, right? I said, no, don't say that. Come on, like that's not true, right? There's so many factors. And he goes, no, like I love you, man. I really appreciate it. And I go, remember I called you and you said, how much are you gonna charge? And I said, nothing, just come. Because you remember that's how we were all the time at our gym. Money,
Oh
you had
yeah.
to pay money because we had a big place. It was a lot of rent.
Yeah.
But it was more like we just enjoyed our community. Like that was a real, Ultimate was a real home for us, you know?
It was a family, Paul. It was a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like look at all the relationships that are still around,
Yeah.
because of Ultimate, right? I have, the software company I own right now was built as a noble gift in the beginning stages from one of my students that became a software engineer and came back and said, "Hey, it's because of the training here that I had to drive limo, sleep in my limo, and study software engineering." And now he's one of the senior techs at Hitachi, and I'm
Damn.
very close with him right now. He was 17 when I used to train him. He came back when he was like 24. He's like almost 40 now, right?
You know what?
How can you put a price tag on this type of stuff? Like,
It's
you just
priceless.
can't.
It's priceless. And you mentioned about visualization, but you had the idea of like uh, basically God in mind as well.
Yeah,
So it's almost like prayer and like manifestation.
yeah, 100% it is. 100%. And I'm
I
doing
believe
it
that too. I believe that too. I've seen it in my life.
like this book.
Yeah,
I keep studying it. It's like
I
this
gotta get
book
that
is,
one. I actually, it's funny. My manager told me to buy that book on just Friday, man. Like what day is it? Saturday. Yesterday.
yeah,
So it's just funny, man. Like he was like, buy this book because we were walking through Indigo together and just talking about like, oh, you gotta look at Seth Godin, you gotta look at Malcolm Gladwell, and this guy, Think and Grow
Gladwell's good
Rich.
too. Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Gladwell's good for like an analytical way, but this is basically the root of all the pioneers of law of attraction, of the secret, of Tony Robbins, you name anything, right? Like this is like Napoleon Hill, like it's unbelievable, right? The stuff that he writes about, and it's not just about think and grow rich in money, it's about think and grow rich in your life, and rich in your relationships, rich in your health, rich in your finances. It's not rich, doesn't say money. The richness is in other things, right?
mhm,
Because you can have all that money and you're just sitting there, you don't have the relationships. And what does that do for you? What does that do for you? What was the big thing with Ultimate? Was it the fighting we were training? No. Everyone remembers the relationships. Everyone,
yeah,
right?
yep,
There isn't one person that think, oh man, you remember that fight? This guy knocked this guy out. No, that's not what we're all about.
no. And you know what? For it's so funny, man. Remember when I fought Sean?
Yep.
We were
Yeah.
best friends for years after that. It's just funny because
Yeah.
we hated each other for like about 3 minutes, or like sorry, like 6 minutes in that
If you
fight.
even hated each other, like maybe not. Maybe you
Maybe
didn't.
not. I don't know. I knew that there was competition. I definitely
Yeah,
wanted to beat him.
of course.
But oh my God, this guy's push kick was just trouble, trouble
I
for
don't
me.
think hatred is synonymous with your name or his, like in the ring. It's not like that. Like you guys aren't like that.
Yeah,
You're not guys that are picked off the street that are fighting. You have this hatred, and then we put you in a boxing ring. And you're gonna become a boxer. We're gonna channel your energy. This is not what Ultimate's made of, right? You know what I mean? These are all people like Gary worked at Honda. Joe worked at what did he do? He was working at a cemetery when he joined. But I was just working. He was at UFC. I mean, like
hmm
he was working there, but he was like he was a university student and loved
And like
martial arts.
moonlighting as like a graveyard person.
It was just a job on the side. I'm just saying,
Okay.
for example, he was a student. Let's just
Well,
say.
that's a noble job, anyways, Paul, because it reminds you of death, right? And anything that does that will make you wiser. But
Yeah,
anyways,
and then exactly, and then there's yourself too, right? Like you were in university. There was you name like anyone there, right? Like everyone was like they're not like thugs from the street and the boxing coach come in, yeah, come on, get on the bag, get focused. It was none of that.
no.
It was like, come in, oh yeah, what are you doing? Oh, that's cool. Keep doing well at what you're doing outside. Not, let's just train here. It's a community,
Paul,
you
I
know?
got I got two things. One is I noticed that you got some cool writing on your wall. Do you know what that means at all?
Yeah. One is like, one of them is love, one's happiness, and one's peace.
Damn.
Yeah. The far one is love. Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Happiness and then
important, man.
peace.
And
Yeah.
peace, love,
And in that
happiness,
order,
and
and
peace.
it's in that order for a reason.
And I
'Cause-
noticed that they're ranked a little bit.
Exactly.
Love, happiness, and peace.
Correct.
Okay.
Because the
Cool.
love will bring you, happiness, right?
Yeah, I saw a funny
And it brings
meme.
peace.
I saw a funny meme on Facebook where it was like this picture, like three heads, right? Boom, 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 and it was trying to say that the smarter you are, the smarter you are, the sorry about that chime,
That's
but
okay.
the smarter you are, the sadder you are, and I thought that's bullshit because every genius that I've met, Paul, has been at peace and happy. But below that, very intelligent. Um, I've noticed a lot of sad people, even myself included. I'm not a genius, but the really smart people, they're all happy, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And at least that's what we see, right? But the real truth is like, I'm in my 50s now, and you got to think like things change in life. Like other things that were important before aren't as important now, right? And the thing is, there's a lot of things that get put into perspective when you get older. And I'm still a 60-year-old could tell me a totally different thing, right? But at the end of the day, like if as you're saying, it makes total sense. Like if maybe if you're smart enough to focus on happiness, you can do well. But the thing is, you're always gonna have those other emotions to some degree, right? It's like the emotional scale. It's not just a few emotions. There's a lot of them, right?
Yeah,
And I think truly, like to your point, like finding something that you enjoy, you believe in, you can find you can work your smart side, like be smart about it, and work your intellect, and that can also bring you to some more happiness too, right? Like in terms of you got your craft, if that makes sense, when you're working on your craft, I always feel good, you feel good, then people around you, there's love, there's, a lot of things happen with it, if that makes sense.
yeah. I think my realization recently, this month, has been that really to be sad as a human is like it's kind of an illusion because we're king of the jungle, man. Like there's every other creature, no matter how beautiful and elegant, they must submit to the human. We run
True.
it. We run it. I'm not saying we're superior. I'm just saying we run it. We run the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah.
Um, and if you realize how like that position, like how could you be sad, man? We're on top. There's no threat to us
Yeah.
except from each other.
Yeah. So true. So true.
You know what, man? Can we jump into a video?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to do this and then try not to look at what's next.
Okay.
Bring it up hard and bring it down fast.
Hard and fast. Let's go, boy.
Well, Paul, you gotta stay to feet.
Beat it. Go straight through.
Make it fight, it's a good one. Now hit hard. Hit it with the heel. Hit it with the heel. Yeah, listen. Hit it with the heel. Yes, you can do it. Come on. Yes, you can do it. You guys look at me. Look at me. You have to hit it hard, though. You cannot hit it light. You have to hit it hard. Go. That's not hard. You touch it.
That's awesome.
I feel like that's kind of, you definitely helped me do that in many ways. You know, as a kid, like, I definitely wasn't the strongest, fastest, you know, physically, right? But you helped at least get me to try.
Yeah. And that's important because a lot of us don't, right? Like as a kid, I had zero confidence, like zero, nothing, right? But we all have that story to some degree, right? And it's, you know, and I can see on you, there's a little bit of emotion there watching this kid and you feel, you know, that feeling, yeah. But the thing is, as I grew older too, I used to have that thing in my head too, that, oh man, at that time in my life, I felt powerless, this and that. You know, but that's all important for you, man. Like if you didn't have that, you know how mundane your life would be?
Yeah.
Like if you didn't have that, if you didn't have any struggle, you know, how are you gonna become a butterfly? How are you gonna, you need that struggle, man. You need that struggle. And that's what I'm learning. Like through the greatest struggles, you know, like look at the 2008 when all, you know, everything hit, right? All that struggle, the best businesses came out of it, right? The best inventions, the best everything, right? The smartphones started to come out at that time, right? You know, and it changed everything, changed the landscape. And then, you know, look at now.
That's no joke, man.
Yeah,
They changed everything.
BlackBerry got squashed and these guys came in, right? BlackBerry was the first,
Yeah.
but they got the arrows in their back and boom, these guys came up, not in a bad way, but it's business, right? Okay, well, I shouldn't say it like that. That makes it sound cool. But
But just like fighting, I think you got the
yeah,
spirit right, man. Because it's not that you hate competitors. It's just that you want to crush them. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
there you go. Yeah, exactly. And with that little chuckle at the end, yeah,
with the
100%,
chuckle, there's got to be the chuckle because
100%.
you don't want them to go out of business necessarily. You just want to win.
Exactly. It's healthy competition and it helps you grow. So it's struggle, isn't it? So it's struggle. So all those things that we go through, that kid right there is going through struggle, right? Would I do that? No, I wouldn't do that to the kid. I'd give him more time. Once he starts crying, I'm gonna melt. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna literally melt when I see that, you know, because he's a kid, right?
The danger, like imagine if he didn't break it. Like I think that's dangerous.
But I think the guy was pushing it, right? Kept
Yeah,
twisting it.
a
It
little
helped
bit.
him,
Yeah,
right?
like
Eventually, I think he just snapped it.
yeah.
Yeah. It was really good though, you know, the way the team jumped on him and
Oh,
it made the kid
sick,
really feel good. It was amazing, you know?
sick, man.
But there are other ways to get people also, like that's one way and that impacted his life. And there's also that slow, gradual way as well, right? Where you just kind of chip. You chip at that board, chip at that board, chip, 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 chip. After a year, boom, it breaks.
That's
You
very
know?
much your style of teaching. Very
Yeah,
much.
just passive, right?
Like I remember hit it. You remember that one bag that was like real hard at the bottom?
Oh yeah, yes.
That one, I just remember you always telling me like, you know, just kick it lightly. You know, your shins get a little harder.
Yeah, that one, you know, the reason why we had it is not to go hard on it. It was to teach you two things, right? One, that you're both okay. One, that you need to control what you hit with, which part. Because when you kick that bag, if you notice, you're very conscious about which part of the shin you hit with. Yeah. And if you want to be good at low kicks or any kicks at all, right? Especially low kicks, you have to be very good about which part of the katana you are using,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's number one. Number two is it teaches you that your katana can break,
True that.
right? And that's
Oh,
very,
shin
very
breaks.
important, right?
I hate watching those, man.
It's very important though, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like
You
look
know
at the
what, man?
famous Musashi. He used to take katana and go boom and break the katana without hitting anything.
What? Yeah, right. That's
Read up
cool.
on it. He used to go like this with a katana, go boom like that, and just stop in the air, and the thing would break.
Would break off. That's
His
crazy,
wrist
man.
was that strong. Yeah.
That's so funny, man. I don't remember the guy at Ultimate, but he gave me the Book of Five Rings.
It's the best.
I don't remember his name, man.
There's
He was
some
a, he was
animes
a,
too, like some mangas you should watch.
like what?
They're really good. Yeah.
Like what,
On
man?
Musashi.
Like what?
I'll get them for you. My son reads them.
Okay, cool. By the way, one day I should meet your son. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, two.
Yeah.
Meher and Zora.
Oh, okay, yeah, for
You
sure.
remember Meher, right? Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
I met him. But I didn't meet the other one yet.
No, he was after. But basically, those two, the older one, he's in UFC now, and he's
Awesome.
he's in the Rotman. He's in his third year.
Oh, awesome, man.
Crazy, like, and then that's
I,
all him, just putting in work, And his mom putting the pressure on him and encouraging him. But these guys, they go a lot farther than me. I used to be afraid, hey, you know what, they're gonna become fighters. I don't want them to do that. It's a very bad business, Like training is fine, everything we did is good, but like that other side of it, like the
I
dirty
agree.
green, it's not fully dirty, but it get changes,
It's a rough life, man.
Exactly.
It's a rough
Yeah.
life. And you know what, Paul? Someone told me that the Prophet Muhammad said that you shouldn't hit another human in the face, and I could never get over that. It prevented me from competing well because that was like always digging at my head, like don't hit him in the face.
Yeah.
But all the training was just amazing.
Yeah.
All right, man. Maybe we should do. Oh, before we do another video, you mentioned that the shin is like a katana.
Yeah.
I forgot what the other attacks were. Like, cause I remember you used to say like punches were something, and elbows were something, and knees were something, and then shins were katanas.
Yeah, those are your blades, right? And man, it's been so long.
Sorry, man. If you don't remember, it's okay.
There was there's quite a few analogies that come. There was one that was like kicking is like the cloud, kneeing is like the thunder. No, the cloud, that's what it was. The cloud comes first, so you kick to cloud your opponent with the kicks. That's the cloud. The rain comes, so you rain punches.
Oh man,
And
that's
then comes
awesome.
the thunder of the knees. And then comes the lightning with the elbows.
Damn.
Yeah.
I love that shit, man.
That was one of the analogies that I used to use a lot. I love analogies because you learn so much from it, right? Like Bruce Lee and his philosophies, they're so inspiring, right? It makes you feel like you're really studying the art. And the analogies bring life to techniques, right? And then you remember them more while you're in that movement, right? Because the best time when you're sparring or fighting is when you're feeling, right? So your thought and action comes together and creates feeling. Yeah. And you feel everything out. Still have strategy, obviously.
Yeah.
The core strategy, but that's the idea. Yeah. But that's one I remember. I remember you're right.
That one's better, man. That one's better than the katana on the shins.
Yeah.
The
And you know
clouds
what?
and that's cool, man. That's cool.
All this stuff comes from just how how it is. You were teaching, and things come as you teach. Like it becomes divine. Like you learn.
It's true,
Right.
man.
Download.
I got obsessed with talking about structure and spontaneity. I would always tell people, you have your structure, that's like how to punch and how to kick. And then you have your spontaneity, which is like floating and just going with the flow. And my students
Right.
really like that stuff.
But see that? What does that teach you every time you tell them about it? What does that do for you, right? Let's look at how self-serving that is too. Like you don't realize that, right? But when you teach them this and you're guiding them on this, then you're like, oh wow, that's cool. And then sometimes you remember that in your life, right? Same idea. There's structure to everything too, right? And there's a spontaneity or two, right? I'm just saying, you call it what you want, but the idea is, structure and flow, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
essentially what you're trying to say.
there's different ways to describe it for sure. Like it's probably something about yin and yang in there, and like
Exactly.
Archie. Do you remember, Archie Luz, right?
Of course, yeah. I
Okay.
trained him at our gym too, right?
I
He
didn't
was
know
also
that.
in my class, yeah.
I didn't know that, man. He
Yeah.
he taught me some Kali, and
Yeah.
when I was alone, I would practice with the whip, cause like
Yeah.
for a minute I thought that was like the coolest weapon.
Amazing.
But I didn't have a teacher for the whip, and I would just tell Archie, I just sit on my chair and I would just like try to hit a spot on the wall, like fishing, right? And then and he would say like, you should practice standing, and if you get hit in the nuts or something, that's God telling you don't do that.
That's
Anyway.
funny.
You guys are all like you all
Yeah.
taught me something interesting, but you mentioned Bruce Lee, so let's dive into another one. And by the way, when you run out of time, you just let me know.
Sure.
I mean, it might sound too philosophical, but it's acting, or acting, unacting. If
You've lost me.
I have. So what I'm saying, actually, you see, I mean, it's a combination of both. I mean, here it is the natural instinct, and here is control. You are to combine the two in harmony. Not, if you have one to the extreme, you will be very unscientific. If you have another to the extreme, you become all of a sudden a mechanical man, no longer a human being. So it is a successful combination of both. So therefore, it is not only, therefore it's not pure naturalness or unnaturalness. The ideal is unnatural naturalness or natural unnaturalness.
Yin yang, eh?
Right, man, that's it. But if you do not have styles, if you just say, well, here I am, as a human being, how can I express myself? Totally and completely. Now, that way, you won't create a style, because style is a crystallization, that way, it's a process of continuing growth. Hand-wise, it's very slow.
Oh, is it?
And you push it out, but all the time you are keeping the continuity going. Bending, stretching, everything. You just keep it moving.
It's like a ballet dancer there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to them, you see, the idea is running water never grows stale. So you got to just keep on flowing.
What do you think of this?
It's amazing.
Should we keep going?
Sorry?
Should we keep going or?
Sure. It's really good.
Interesting. We don't, in our world, and haven't since the days of the Greeks who did, combine philosophy and art with sport. But quite clearly, the Oriental attitude is that the three are facets of the same things.
Man, listen, you see, really, to me, ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself. Now, it is very difficult to do. I mean, it is easy for me to put on a show and be cocky,
Yeah.
and be flooded with a cocky feeling, and then feel like pretty cool and all that. Or I can make all kinds of phony things, you see what I mean? Blinded by it. Or I can show you some really fancy movement. But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, and to express myself honestly, now that, my friend, is very hard to do. And you have to train. You have to keep your reflexes so that when you want it, it's there. When you want to move, you're moving. And when you move, you are determined to move. Not taking 1 inch, not anything less than that. If I want to punch, I'm going to do it, man, and I'm going to do it, you see. So that is the type of thing you have to train yourself into it, to become one with the... You think?
Yeah, this is very
Empty your mind. Be formless.
Oh,
Shapeless.
this is a famous one.
Like water.
Yeah.
Now you put water into a cup.
It becomes the cup.
It becomes the cup. You
You
put
put
water
water
into a
into
bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it
becomes
becomes
the
the
teapot.
teapot.
This guy's
Now
crazy.
water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Oh man,
That's awesome. Yeah, he's the best.
he's the best, man.
Yeah.
How do you apply this stuff to your life and business, man?
Oh man, that's a good question. So what I look at is because I'm heavy into marketing now, mainly ads, like a little organic, but more like ads.
Like paid
And it's
ads like
all
Google and social.
yeah, like I'll use Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Yahoo Gemini native, Google.
Never tried Yahoo Gemini.
Yeah, it's really good. They have some good insights. But basically it comes down to strategy. It's heavily about strategy. It's similar, I would say, because if there's a strategy to beat a certain opponent, I can't really relate it. Well, I guess I could, because if you have one opponent, there's a different strategy you would have for different products or different services. So I guess in that way it would be similar. You'd have different strategies for this opponent or that opponent or that opponent, right? So it's the same idea. I guess strategy is what's similar, I would say. And the thing with why martial arts for business, I would say the strategy is having that drive, man. Like you really gotta have that no quit, pragmatic approach. Like you've got to be careful, right? So
I got a good question here. No quit, pragmatic approach. Okay.
mhm.
How do you recover from a loss? How do you keep going after a loss?
Well, first of all, you learn from it, of course, but you minimize any future losses right away because you're going to lose no matter what. You're going to lose in business, you're going to lose in marketing, you're going to lose in life, you're going to lose in the ring, you're going to lose outside of the ring. This is just 100% it's going to happen. Like in some way, you're going to lose. There's very few people that are undefeated, right?
Yeah.
Very, very few, right?
Yeah.
And those people, I'm sure they suffer losses in other ways.
Well, Khabib is a perfect example. He was undefeated, but I mean, when he lost his father, he's pretty much devastated.
Yeah,
He couldn't keep fighting without his dad. He could not.
yeah. But you tell me, out of like, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but in my opinion, just my opinion, like everyone's entitled to their own. Don't shoot me for it.
No, never.
I love Bruce Lee. I love like Muhammad Ali. I love Tyson. I love like all these guys. Yeah, like they're all amazing. Peter Arts, all those guys.
Sugar Ray Robinson.
So many. We can say, right? We can go on and on and on, right? Like so many great fighters. Rocky Marciano, this, that. We can just keep going on and on. But this guy, Khabib, in my opinion, is my most favorite martial artist and human being because of his integrity and his faith. Like to me, I don't care what religion you are, it doesn't matter anything. If I can have like 10% of this guy's like goodwill, you're already successful. Like you're done.
Yeah, the game's done. You won. Like for me, it's a toss up between Khabib and Muhammad Ali. They're very close because they both decided to make statements with their art. Like a lot of fighters just like, yeah, I wanna just crush my opponents. I wanna win. I wanna be the best fighter in the world. I wanna be the greatest. But like Muhammad Ali and Khabib, they also wanted people to recognize that there's one God and that integrity matters. Especially Khabib, because Khabib went up against Conor McGregor, who really, he really went after him, man. He really went after him, and Khabib lost it at least once with the bus incident. But like Conor would do stuff like he'd bring alcohol to an interview and be like, drink this. Come on, let's drink. And
You
then
put it right in front of them. Like this is so like to disrespect someone's religion like that, like it's very wrong. Like, and I understand what you're saying with the one God, that's what you get from it. I don't get that one God message at all. I don't receive that message because I'm a Sikh, okay? And we have our own belief system that it's open to every religion. We believe in everything. Like we believe there's many paths. We never tell someone that that this is only
Like
the way.
theirs is wrong. You don't do that.
Exactly. Like a lot of the Sikh temples, the most famous ones are in Pakistan.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Muslims actually help maintain them. It's not like there's no conflict. Like they help each other a
Yeah.
lot.
That's funny. Zubair, I mean, we all know Zubair Khan. Zubair used to, by the way, when I first saw Zubair fight, I was like mesmerized, man.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good. You gave
Very
me
good.
structure, and he gave me spontaneity
Yeah,
because he would float, and before every match, he would his I think it's Way Crew, right? The dance.
yeah,
His dance was a mix of Thai culture and Islamic culture. I was like,
yeah.
man, who does that? But he was good. But he told me that Sikh people are the most trustworthy people you could find.
Yeah, it's known like both ways. Even if people say, "Oh, like Muslims like this, Muslims like that," if you go to Pakistan, you know how, or even any Muslim country, they treat you so well, bring you into their house, they will feed you. They will. It's this whole stereotype in U.S. that they made up. Like I grew up with all Muslims, man, mostly, right? And I never seen any of that stuff. Like, and you know what, man? Forget about the religion. We grew up with many different, you know, nationalities and religions,
Yeah,
right?
yep. We
And the thing
exchanged a
is,
lot of info too.
yeah, and I'll tell you, you don't see Khabib saying that this God is no good or that God is no good. No,
No,
he's just showing you that he has his faith in his God,
yeah,
and this is what Allah says, and this is what I want to do, and he shows it by actually doing it, right?
yeah,
That's what I love about his faith is that he shows, and that faith is amazing. Like I see people pray, 5 times a day. This is amazing because it reminds you, like Gary, I believe, is Muslim now too, because it helped him to.
What?
Oh yeah, for a while, yeah.
Wow,
And you
man.
know what? He lost some friends, but he retained most of them because of it. He has most of them, like
Can
Coleman, Erickson, all of them are still there. People say, oh, these white people, they hate Muslims and stuff. And that's not true either.
That's
Like
not true.
exactly. There's so many good people out there, and we just need to be more open-minded to each other, right? Like we really should.
Yeah, I think so
Oh,
I think I need to clarify. So Allah is just an Arabic word for God.
okay.
So in Egypt, if you're Christian, you're gonna say Allah. If you're
Oh,
Jewish, you're gonna say Allah. If you speak Hebrew, you're gonna use the word Elohim,
I heard that.
but
Yeah,
the im, it just means plural. So in Hebrew, it's just Eloh is God, and in Arabic, Allah is God. It's basically the same word, right? So it's
yeah,
like I think that sometimes using the word Allah is appropriate because it's indisputably about one, right? And I think, but I really believe that if anybody believes in a higher power, I think we all believe in the same God. Even
yeah.
Buddhists, like even people who don't really give it a personality, they're just like there's like a power,
Like universe or something.
the
Yeah,
universe.
yeah, yeah.
Like
People sometimes say that. Yeah,
um, I, I think we're all on the same path, and really, I think Muhammad Ali said it best because someone asked him, "Why did you change religion? Why did you change your name from Cassius Clay?" And he said, "Look, Christianity is a perfect religion. It's a perfect path, all the prophets and all the teachers are correct, but I just chose the Islamic path. And that answer is like, that's why
So
he's
respectful.
that's why
Like,
he's
come
the
on.
best, man.
Yeah. He's definitely the best, but I like Khabib because um,
Khabib showed it more.
he's not as Ali made a movement, yeah? Like deliberately, I don't know if it's deliberate or not, but he created a movement
He did.
that no one else, like we can't even compare Khabib to that, right?
No.
But what I'm trying to say, like, let me also clarify. Yeah, I misunderstood what you said about the one God. Now it makes sense what you're saying. We also believe one God and then many different,
Forms or
everyone's
faces,
welcome.
right? Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
even Hindus, like when they say like many gods, I think it's a lot more like different faces of the same god.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
I don't
little
know. I
complicated,
need to ask a
but
Hindu. I need to ask a Hindu, but that's what
yeah.
we have 99 names of God, right? Like the most gracious, most merciful, blah blah blah. So it's like kind of like these are different facets of his personality.
Yeah.
Also, he has like kind of more angrier personalities, like the compeller or like the most
Mm,
powerful. You know what I mean? So
that makes sense.
yeah, man.
But like the thing I just want to say about Khabib again is that like and this is granted everything that we see on social media is real, but I don't think you can fake that many times,
Mm-mm.
because honestly, like think of it, he doesn't put money ahead of people. Like you can see that because he promised his mom he won't fight. He's like I won't fight. Like it's just
Who
is
doesn't?
he is he a perfect person? I don't know, but I'm saying whatever he's showing, the decisions he's making in the fight game are not the typical decisions a fighter would make in the fight game, right? Like a lot of people are more about showing themselves off, and he's not doing that. And you know what? I do believe that it's because of his faith in Islam. I do believe that that's his anchor. You know,
Yeah, and he has a habit. If you look at how he hangs out with Daniel Cormier, he treats him like he treats all of them like brothers, man. Like he doesn't
yeah,
say, "Oh, you're not Muslim, so we can't be as close
yeah,
as me and Muhammad." You know what I mean? He doesn't do that.
yeah. They're not like that. Like people think, like I don't know. Some people, especially in the U.S., they have this stereotype. Muslims are like this, but they're not like. They're so welcoming. They will feed you like you would not believe the. Even if you go to Afghanistan and the way they treat you, they have very little money, very little food. You know, and I hear stories from my Afghan friends, like, and I see when I go to their friend. I've been to their houses. You can see the way they treat you, right? It's not.
I really got to learn more about Sikhism. Is there any like golden rules or like things like that?
Sikhism, like you're supposed to not cut your hair. I cut mine, but you're not shunned away for not having a turban. So that's like one big thing.
I love
Is
growing my
that,
hair, by the way.
huh?
I've recently started growing my hair, and like
Yeah,
if there's something about it, there's something about it that makes you feel I don't know, like cleaner. I
yeah,
don't
for
know. I
sure.
don't know what to say.
And that's what they say. You don't cut your hair. You don't cut your beard. You don't cut anything. Like not even one hair off your even your eyebrow. Don't pluck it. Like that's like the golden rule, right?
Damn.
And then another thing is you have to carry a kurban. You have to carry basically you're supposed to carry a long sword, but here they don't only allow a certain size, right?
Is it sharp or no?
Yeah, yeah, it's sharp. It's supposed to be sharpened. It's supposed to be ready for battle. And that if somebody is in danger, you're supposed to help them, no matter what age you are. If you're a woman, doesn't matter. You have to pull it out and you have to help.
I love
That's
that.
that's basically the rule of that. Even in India right now, if like a girl's being, it happens all the time. A girl's being followed by some guys or something. They see a guy with a turban, they'll run towards him, and they know that he'll help. Like that's the duty.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, they still do it. Like it's a young religion. It's only 300 years old, but it's it's pretty cool. I didn't think it was cool growing up because everyone made fun of me with my turban.
You
You
used
know,
to
I
wear a
thought it was
turban?
the worst thing in the world. Yeah. I thought like we were 100%. We used to not eat any meat. We used to wake up 5 a.m., do the prayers, do everything. And I have all those values in me. Like a lot of that's in me, but I just don't practice it on the outside, right? And like I trained Gatka, which is a Sikh martial art with the swords and everything as a kid. That's what first started me, right? And they have an unarmed one where you low kicks and punches too. I did used to do that when I was like 10, 12 years old. But the idea is that every Sikh should be training martial arts and every Sikh should be like a certain way, a certain look, so that if someone can identify the Sikh and get help.
That's an amazing idea, man. I think
Yeah,
the Prophet Muhammad, he also wanted Muslims to have a look, to be honest. He would even say, like, you know, the pagans, like, have their hair one way, let's have our hair another way. Or, like,
yeah,
to wear certain lengths of clothes and, like, to cover your head and wear a turban. He wore a turban.
yeah.
Um,
Their
so there's a
swords
lot
were
of
different too. Everything was different. Like it was all unique, right?
Yeah, and because he wanted them to be identified, that was I think I agree with you that that's important. Um,
It is. Yeah. No,
but I mean,
definitely.
at the end of the day, I think God looks at the hearts, so don't worry, man.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I know we're getting close to your time. I want to do just one more video, but
Sure. Let's do it.
one more. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I'm gonna let you choose, okay? I have one on Gary Goodridge, and I have
Okay.
one on a Shaolin master.
Okay.
Which
We
one you
can
want?
do both if you want.
Okay, let's start with Gary because we talked about him.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to try and realistically think about what it's like post-fight with all the times you've been punched, and that's something that I really
Uh-oh, sorry.
enjoy about you is you have no problem telling people, look, it's taken a toll. You've been hit a lot in the head, and there is a long-term mental damage. There's a physical damage. There's a lot of things that you sometimes might just have misfire or spark, and sometimes that can lead to other things in your life too. So there's something I know that I've always wanted to ask you and talk to you about, and it's personal to you, man. And it's only because I love you as a friend and I've known you as family for a long time that I know I can ask you, what is that one thing that you've always wanted to talk about or you've always wanted to say, and you can't necessarily blame anything except yourself and acknowledge it and own it. What is that thing?
Well, there's a few things, but the one thing that sticks out to me, and thanks for asking the question, is about probably about a year and a half to 2 years ago, maybe 3 years, 2.5 years ago. I got convicted of an offense on a friend of mine, a girl that I loved dearly. Her name was Debbie. She was about 5'1" and 110 pounds, soaking wet. And one day we were in my kitchen that I live in right now. We were in my kitchen and we were talking and broke into a fight. I can't remember what exactly it was all about. And then next thing you know it, we were fighting, and then next thing you know, my hands were on her neck, and I'm like, and I'm walking to the door. Get the f*** out of my house, pardon me. And it just one thing led to another, and then next thing you know, I'm being arrested, and I spent probably about 2 months in jail, and then another 6 months probation or probation, yes. And that's one thing that's plagued my mind and has bothered me ever since. This girl was she was a really sweetheart. I loved this girl, and I really love this girl.
Well, sometimes that love and that passion can make you do exactly the opposite of what's right.
Well,
And it's tough. And you've got, and not again to say that the head injuries necessarily make it okay,
Yeah.
but it did contribute, I'm sure.
well, you know what? When that happened, when that happened, and then that very night I got arrested.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm having a court case that I got to spend close to $30,000 to try to get, to try to cushion it.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, that's when everything came out with this brain injury, with CTE. The Dr. Ashralani from the neuroscience and
yeah, I've heard of Dr. Ashalani.
Dr.
Yeah.
Ashralani from the neuroscience and
Sure.
U of T. She
My
I
program.
had quite a few meetings with her, and her and this other doctor from the States diagnosed me with early onset dementia and CTE and all these other things that all these other giant words that I have no idea about. But yeah, that's when everything came ahead that this is what's wrong with Gary.
First of all, can I just say, Gary, if he ever watches this, Assalamu alaikum, bro, and Barakallah Feek, God bless you. But it reminds me of times when I've lost control, and it's when I lost touch with what martial arts was all about. Can you relate, man? Do you know anyone who's lost control? Like, honestly, this is responsibility. Like, when you really know how to hurt somebody, it's responsibility.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, and I think the case here is a little different maybe than yours, because
For sure.
the amount of concussions that he's been through, it has, he's the most gentlest person you'll ever meet, the most loving. Like, every time I talk to him, I love you, Paul, I love you. He send me messages, I love you, Paul, I love you, brother, I love you. Like, he's one of the guys, him and my son Mayor have taught me to be open with my love, like it's okay to say I love you, and really mean it, like say it, I love you, man, not like that, like I love you, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a real from the heart love.
Mhm.
And there's very few people you can say that to, like and feel good about it. And this guy, that's what he is. And all these concussions he's been through, and I know that's why I wanted to quit so many times. I came back. One time I left halfway, one of the biggest events, and I was getting anxiety, and we were on a connecting flight, and it was 88,000 people were going to be at this event. And Gary was fighting, his last name is Van Dam. He's from Holland.
Okay.
He beat him, but the point is, we were going, and I was like getting anxiety, and because I knew I was going into something that I didn't enjoy, and I left. I said, I'm gonna go back. You shouldn't be fighting, right now. And I didn't say that's the reason why, but that's why. And when I look back, that's part of the reasons why I had all this anxiety going. It's just, anxiety is just a marker. It's just an indicator that you're not doing something that you enjoy, right? So what do you do?
True that, man. True that. I don't know, man. You tell me.
Exactly. And then you're going to be like, oh, you get anxiety before fights. Yeah, for sure. But you still want to do it because you want to, you're doing it because you want to get past that anxiety, the fear and all that, right? Because fear is like having faith in something bad that's going to happen, right?
Damn.
Right, though?
Yeah,
It is.
it is.
It's like you're afraid. Why? Because you're believing in something that is unseen. But
By the way,
on the other side,
can I do a plug right there? Okay, so I did a review of the movie Dune. I'll link it in the below. And a very famous quote in Dune is, "Fear is the mind killer." And
yeah.
that guy, whatever he was on in 1960s, can I have some? I don't know.
Yeah, like a lot of these creators that do movies and all, like they're conveying messages, Star Wars, this, that, like all these movies, man. They're conveying things from their life, right? They're artists, they're teachers, they're gurus, right? They have a medium. And Muay Thai was our medium, and you have your medium, you know. But at the end of the day, Gary also, he's become a teacher too, because he's like, whatever's happened to him, I'm telling you straight up, like, it's like he just kept fighting. He goes, Paul, I have to do this. I left my job. This is what I do. I can't just say no to fights. So in a strange way, I understand what he's saying. He goes, I gotta fight, win, lose, or draw. Like I said, that's my job. I can't say no, it's my job, it's my money. Like, this is how I make money. This is how I make a living. You know, a lot of that money was taken by, you know, women that he met and he trusted, and you know, it's a shame. But you know, now he lives, he's happy, he's living comfortably, and he's happy, and you know, he's got things. Sometimes he forgets and stuff, yeah, for sure. But at least those kind of episodes aren't there anymore, where it was really bad, you know. And I remember that one in particular talking about. I remember when that happened.
Yeah, I was gonna show a highlight reel of Gary Goodridge, of like him just kicking ass and stuff, but I felt like that's not the Gary today.
It's not, 100% not. Yeah, he's a pioneer, right? Like, he's the first. Him and Carlos Newton were literally the only Canadians to do that, right? To go and do all this. And Gary's the first to fight in K1 Pride and UFC ever in history.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
man.
no one would ever do that. Kru Paul and all of them did it after. Miracle, he did it after. Vovchanchin, Igor Vovchanchin did it first, K1 and Pride, but nobody did UFC, Pride, then K1, other than him.
Wow.
And you know what? Like, whatever he did. I used to get mad at him, like, why do you want to do these rehearsals and the walkouts? Like, that's not important. Strategy is important. Stay focused. But I realized he was a master at his craft in terms of the entertainment side.
Yeah.
He knew how to bring entertainment. He was not a skilled fighter. Even no matter how much skill we teach him, he had some sort of skill, but he wasn't a guy that was just amazing skill. And he knew that. He was very real about it. He was like, I know I can win, but you know, I'm like the best of the worst. That's what he used to call himself, right? Okay. But he goes, he will never duck anyone. And he became the gatekeeper for Pride, right?
Yeah.
And you know, he's okay with that. And there has to be some humility in that, like, for someone to stay, you know, everyone says they're the best, undefeated, this and that, but who's the one that's going to be, you know, brave enough to be the defeated? Right?
I think you learn
that takes bravery.
You learn so much more from defeats, man. Winning is amazing, but losing.
Yeah. Like, you asked me, you know, you were surprised why I want to leave that. People say, oh, why you want to leave that? Well, because I see people that I care about, right? Like, look, I'm playing a video game with Musashi and all these guys, and I visualize it. 3 months later, I'm in Japan in the elevator with Andy Hu, all the guys I'm playing with, Ernesto Hoost, everyone, Peter Arts, everyone, at the age of 28, all right? Like, what the fuck? Like, really? So someone that hasn't trained, did I train any pros at that time? I don't even know. Maybe just Dimitri, I think, that was it. But the point is that if that can happen, then can't I do anything, right? And then at the end of it, I'm like, I don't want it. Why? Because what did I value more in my heart is seeing the person that I care about, seeing someone that like get hurt repeatedly, and I left it, you know, and I said, I don't want this shit. I used to get anxiety coming to the gym. That's why you stopped seeing me for a little bit. I used to.
I remember that. We used to be like, "Where's Paul?"
I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel good about going in there and TV because everyone wanted to fight now. Everyone's like, Gary's from Japan. I want to fight. Not yet, guys. Not yet. You know, I remember things like you sitting in the change room after your fight, right? Hiding from your parents, your face for a week. I remember these are the things that make me not want to do it. For what? Because I held an event and put Sharif in there to fight. That's why I stopped holding events. The last one I held, because I'm not going to make money off of people that I care about, even if I don't care about them, other people's kids. get beat up and I make money for it, I don't want to do it. I don't want to take $1 from someone that had someone just because the kid is some of them are talked into by their coach. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. They want to pump up their gym. I never wanted to put the fighter in to pump up my gym's name. Never. That was never my purpose. Would it be nice if it happened organically? Yes. I don't never take a fighter from another gym either. Never. Always homegrown, start clean, fresh from zero to hero. If you make it, you make it. If not, you're still a hero, you know? And that's why I wanted to leave, man. That's you want to know why? That's why I left. And then eventually sold everything, got to marketing. I couldn't be happier right now. I'm out of that business. I don't like the fight game at all. I rarely watch UFC. I love martial arts though. My old student runs one of the ultimates, so it's still alive.
Awesome.
You know? So yeah, so he's like the next person that'll carry it on. Yeah. So Sharif, that's kind of a little bit, you know, to give you an idea, right? Some context why I would want to leave that, you know.
I needed to hear that, man. Thank you. I got one more video, and then I think we should cut. I think that was good.
I'm sorry though, I might have to cut a little sooner.
This was perfect,
Yeah.
Paul. This was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you hang on? Let me just outro and then cut. Okay. So you know, if anyone watched, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see other stuff like this, just check out culturetoronto.com. We also have new merch from our studio, Otese. Otese is the Japanese word for handmade and homemade. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Cut.
Thank you, Sharif.
Oh, no need, man. Okay, I'm gonna just end recording.
On a squirrel, yeah. You watch a movie, you think it's like that, yeah. You watch a TV show, you think it's like that, yeah. You read a book and you think it's like that, but it hasn't been like that for very long. Because society hasn't developed the technology to place their stories and constructs in the philosophical medium that's entertaining for us to understand. And plus there's so many of us here on this planet, we need a system to organize ourselves in a way that makes us feel like we